welcome to the stream. If this is your first stream in, I'm gonna go ahead and quick introduce myself and then we'll get right into things, okay guys? My name is Kisaka Toriyama, but you can just call me Kisa. I'm an art streamer here on Twitch and I specialize in original character art. I also happen to be the youngest cat girl sister of the Toriyama family. I may make some mistakes sometimes like that. But I always try and do my best. So thank you so much for popping in and for your patience. I have been a Twitch streamer for 4 years. Hi, Ryuna. I've also been a Twitch emo artist for over 3 years. So it's been a crazy journey. And I'm really excited to share some tips with you guys to make the best emotes on Twitch, make them stand out, make people want your emotes just to have them. Because that's totally a thing. I know at least a few of you guys know a Twitch streamer that you don't really watch their Twitch streams that often, but they have like a bomb ass fucking emotes and you love them. So you always sub to them so you get them, you know? Well, that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make it to where you guys have some of the best emotes on Twitch. And I can teach y'all how to do that. To start off, guys, if you guys don't know what an emote is, let me just tell you something. Let me tell you something, all right? So emotes are like one of the most important things about Twitch culture, really, you know? So like, even if you don't care to, you know, to PogChamp, if you're not a fan of, you know, the PogChamping, or, you know, you don't like to Kappa all over Twitch, you know, even if you don't like to do that, it's still an important part of Twitch culture. Because it can be an important branding tool. It can be such an important branding tool that you should not sleep on. You should not sleep on if you want to make a name for yourself in the streaming world. It's literally so important. Like, one of the best things about Twitch is the fact that you can use emotes on any channel you're subscribed to. Like, on like anywhere on the platform. So if you subscribe to me, you can use my emotes on Ninja's channel. You can use it anywhere else. So it's a good discoverability tool. So you guys should definitely take advantage of it if you guys want to keep building yourself up on Twitch. Super duper important. But here's the thing, guys. If you guys just make a random emote and you don't know how to make it stand out on Twitch, because like their smallest size is 28 by 28. It's really tiny. It's just a bunch of tiny little pixels. You're gonna have a hard time standing out on Twitch. Like, people are gonna go, oh, what is that emote? I can't even tell what that looks like. They're gonna skip over it. They're not gonna think twice. But if your emote stands out and they're like, oh shit, what is that emote? That's so fucking cool, or that's so fucking silly, or that's so fucking cute, then people are more likely to go and check out your channel just from other people posting your emotes. So it's like free advertisement. It's literally free advertisement for anyone who subscribes to you. Someone gives you money for a sub, and then they go around your channel and they advertise it, basically. Like, how legit is that? But, you know, if you don't have a cool emote, then like, what are people gonna be spamming? They're gonna be spamming nothing, you know? It's really important that I help you make the best emote, all right? From choosing the right canvas size to what colors work best for emotes, how to scale down your emote and your program of choice, and even what kind of emotes you might wanna make. I'm here to help you out with that, guys, today. So let's get started, guys. Let's get started. We're gonna get right into it. Let's go ahead and let's talk about what kind of emotes you should make on Twitch, okay? What kind of emotes, right? One of the hardest part about making your own emotes, guys, or even commissioning someone to make your own emote, you're just like, shit, what kind of emote do I even want? If you guys don't know where to start when it comes to making your own emotes, it could be as simple as like an inside joke, guys. It could be as simple as like, oh, okay, well, I have this joke with my chat where I always say, you know, Poopzilla, okay? You know, it can be as simple as like an inside joke with your chat, or it could be similar to something else you guys have seen on the platform before. Because if you're not sure where to start, there's several emote types that pretty much every streamer uses, like literally every streamer. Like, I mean, how many streams have you guys gone into and saw a, you know, a heart or a love, you know, or a hype, right? Like, everyone has those, right? So like, none of these ideas, like the love, the hype and stuff, like none of those ideas are exclusive to a singular streamer, guys. You know, in fact, most streamers reuse a lot of the same emote ideas since they could be interpreted in so many different ways, right? That being said, though, guys, I'm just gonna tell you right now, gonna be completely honest, it is never cool to trace or directly copy an emote's design. I'll kind of go over that a little bit later, but yeah, just bottom line, don't go and see another emote and then trace over it and then post on your own channel. Don't go and say, oh, I really like, you know, this particular emote. I'm gonna sit there and copy the entire thing line from line. Not cool. You can take inspiration from it and you can make it your own, because there's a million different ways you can interpret a singular idea. And I'll show you guys examples as to how you can take like something as simple as a love emote or a hype emote and make it so different. Okay? So like, don't worry. You don't have to be like, but Kisa, everybody took all the good ideas. No. I got you. All right. So Twitch has a bunch of global emotes, as you guys have seen. That, I mean, you're staring at one right now. You know, we got good old PogChamp, we got Kappa. I mean, we got hey guys. I mean, there's just a ton of them, right? Just a ton of them. And probably most of you are familiar with it. And if you guys aren't, you guys can literally open up your emote library and you guys will have access to all the global ones. Everyone can use those. They're great, right? And there's also popularized emotes as well. If you guys use BTTV, which is Better Twitch TV, which is a browser extension that allows you to access more emotes, or Frankerface, I think that they're one and the same now. But if you guys are familiar with either of those, it's an extension on your browser that allows you to see even more emotes on a certain Twitch channel, or any particular Twitch channel that has it turned on. And we have a few, because we only have a certain amount of emote slots. And so we made a bunch more emotes, and you guys can see it. We have other ones that have been popularized. I mean, you get Monka S, you have, you know, Pepe Hands, you know, and then you even have Ayaya. These are all popularized. They're not on Twitch itself. But they're really popular on, or maybe some of them are, but they're really popularized on BTTV. And a lot of people, as you can see right there, we take the inspiration from it, and in some cases, you know, in Ayaya, it's so popularized to the point where, you know, everyone just copies it. It's an anime slide, you know, it's from an anime, and we all just copy it and do it in our own style and do it in all sorts of different ways. Other emote ideas that are pretty popular are like head pat. You guys have seen my head pat emote. We also have one by Yamachika here, head pat. You know, you have love, of course. I mean, you can't go wrong with love. I'm gonna show you guys this a little bit later, but here's a comparison of my love emote from 3 years ago and now. You know, we have we have rip emotes. Those are incredibly popular. Rip. You know, especially within the gaming community here on Twitch. Rip's super duper popular. Wave, rage. I mean, like, the list honestly just goes on, right? But those are a lot of the popular ones, including like derp and cry, gasm, stuff like that. They were all very, very popularized and very popular on Twitch. But like a lot of streamers have used these, or just a few of them. You know, you probably see it in most of them. They've used a few of them, right? But it's not to say that like it's a requirement. You guys don't have to say like, oh shit, well, Kisa's telling me that I have to make a rage emote. Kisa's telling me I have to make a love emote. Kisa's telling me I have to make a goddamn fucking Monka S emote. No, you don't have to make this. In fact, I suggest you don't, because this is creepy. You don't have to make these, guys. You don't have to make these. You can make whatever the heck you want. All right, whatever the heck you want. Another popular way to utilize emotes is by incorporating text as well. Incorporating text. So if an emotion is unclear in an emote and you want to make it more obvious, you can just add text. This is commonly used in hype emotes. I'll give you an example with like with this emote that Yamachika did for Moe Shop. But like putting hype in here, if the emotion on the character isn't super duper obvious, or you don't feel like it's super duper obvious, then adding text can help define it a little bit more. It can help define it. And I highly recommend it. There are some downsides to using text in your emotes, but I'll go over that a little bit later. But yeah, any idea that you guys have for an emote, especially one that your community likes, guys, is a good idea. It's just a good idea, unless it's against TOS, of course. You know, but you know, you want an emote of you holding a toothbrush. Guys, make an emote of you holding a toothbrush. Do you want an emote of a carrot? Make an emote of a carrot. You know, there's literally no limits other than TOS, all right? TOS is the only limit, and that's understandable, right? That's understandable. So speaking of limits, guys, are there any limits that you guys can fit into an emote? Let's talk about that, right? Because emotes are small. In case you guys don't know, and I'm going to go over this a little bit later here in a minute too, is there's obviously emotes are really small. They have like 28 by 28 is the smallest size. 56 by 56 is the medium size, and 112 by 112 is the biggest size, all right? And that's not a lot of space. Like, that's 20 by 28 pixels is not big. Like, if I show you guys what that looks like in my program, let me show you guys what 28 by 28 looks like. Here, I'll even bring up an emote at that size. This is what an emote looks like in 28 by 28. It's goddamn tiny, right? It's goddamn tiny. So you have to be able to express an emotion, express a feeling, express something in like that tiny, tiny little space. And so like doing that really does take a bit of like time. And also you have to keep in mind that there's certain things that just don't work. So like there isn't a limit to your creativity, but there's a limit to what fits within the canvas of the emote, right? So just because you can draw a full body of a character in an emote, you're like, all right, Keith, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna draw this full body character. Bitch, once you make that 20 by 28, it's gonna look like a mush of colors and pixels. No one's gonna be able to tell what the heck that is. You may know that it's like a full body character, but ain't nobody else gonna see that. And then no one's gonna use your emote. And then it's just gonna sit there in an emote slot and be useless. You know what I mean? It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. So like, but there are ways that like an emote does work really well. And the emote does work really well. So for example, Feifei came in here earlier with their tongue emote, okay? And I'll give another example too. So say, for example, you want to make an emote where a character's laying on their side with the text "draw me" above it, okay? As a reference to say, you know, draw me like one of your French girls or whatever. And you just have it on there to where it says "draw me" and you're like laying on your side, okay? Well, you're not gonna be able to fit that entire character and the text in the emote. It's not possible because there's just not enough space. There's just not enough space. It's just gonna look like a mush of color, you know? However, what you can do is make two separate emotes. You can have one that shows the first half of the body and like the text like "draw." And then you can have another emote where it's the second half of the body with the text like "me," or maybe the W of "draw" and "me." So you can space it out that way. A great example, like I said, is Feifei, and then also Yamachika. Here you go. There's another good example right there. So like you can see the entire body just right there in those three emotes. Would have been impossible otherwise, but like they got you. There's also certain things that won't work for emotes due to their size and the amount of detail, but if you're insistent, you guys can take advantage of BTDV and Frankerface because they give you a ton of emote slots versus like affiliates only get like, what do we get? Like 6, 7, 8? I think we get like 8 slots if we don't include bits. And we do include tier 2 and tier 3, but you can make like a huge thing. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it to where somebody they post 2 emotes and then they post again 2 more emotes and they post again 2 more emotes. And so then they have a total of 6 emotes that take up one huge drawing, you know, and it's great. So you can take advantage of that, but for smaller emotes, generally for the regular emotes, you're not gonna do that right. Okay, so now that we kind of like discussed like what emotes are, what we can do with emotes, we're gonna actually go into the details of making the emote, programs, all that stuff that you guys came here for. The different things that we're gonna focus on today is going to be programs, canvas size and resizing your emotes, habits that you guys should make as an emote artist, whether it's for yourself or if you want to make it a job, light mode and dark mode, like what your emotes should look like on both of those, line thickness, color palettes, text and emotes, and pricing your emote commissions, if that is something that you're looking to do in the future or are doing currently. So yeah, we're gonna go over a ton of stuff. Feel free to ask questions, guys. I would love to answer any questions that you guys have. So first off, let's start with programs, guys. Let's start with programs. So there's tons of programs you guys can use to make your emotes, okay? Really, just about any digital media program is gonna work for you guys, whatever you're comfortable with. So some of these programs can be absolutely free. Other of them can cost a little bit of money or a lot of money, depending on what you want. So personally, I use Clip Studio Paint. What you guys see right here, this is Clip Studio Paint. I use Clip Studio Paint for all of my illustrations. I pretty much don't use any other program. Oh, by the way, guys, this program is Clip Studio Paint, and you can get it for $50. You can get it just for $50, and it goes on sale 4 times a year. Literally, if you guys want to, if you guys are interested in this program, but you can't afford it right now, join my Discord. Literally join my Discord, because I post in my Discord every single time it goes on sale. But you guys could also use Metabang, which is a free digital art program and that many highly recommend. I hear good things about Fire Alpaca and also about GIMP as well. I will talk a little bit about why I don't think that some of those programs are good for resizing your emotes later, but for now we're just gonna focus on the programs themselves that you can draw the emotes with. Another alternative is you guys can use Procreate on iPad. They also have Clip Studio Paint on iPad as well, but it is a yearly fee, I believe. You have to pay like monthly or yearly, something like that. But you guys can also create your emotes on Procreate as well. I know plenty of emo artists who use Procreate for it, so I recommend that as well. Aside from the actual drawing process, which we'll talk about a little bit later, one of the most important parts about the program that you use, no matter what it is it should be its capability to just draw what it is you want to do, and to have a program that can properly resize your emotes, okay? Properly resize your emotes, and that's going to be really, really, really important. All right, guys, so let's go ahead. Let's move on to canvas size and resizing your emotes, okay? So to upload high quality emotes, guys, you need 3 sizes on Twitch. You need 3 sizes. And it's going to be the exact same picture, but in all different sizes. Twitch does offer a simple version of the uploader. Well, all you need is 1 image, but I do not recommend you guys use it at all. I do not recommend you guys use that at all. And I'll show you a little bit. So this is what it looks like on Twitch, okay? So they have the simple and advanced. On simple, what it says is like, okay, you can upload 1 image and it can be, you know, up to this size, which is ridiculously huge. And I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to talk about that here in a second, you know, and just has to fit these requirements, and then they'll automatically make it smaller. Now, when you do this, it compresses the shit out of your emote, and it makes it look like garbage. It just makes it look like garbage. It is really not good. I never, ever recommend people use the simple one. You are wasting your time that you spent working hard on this emote by using the simple one. Don't use it. Instead, what you're going to want to use, you're going to want to use the advanced one. If you used advanced, then as you can see, it needs those 3 required sizes. Guys, to do an emote on Twitch, guys, you need 112 by 112. 56 by 56, and 28 by 28. Those are the 3 required sizes. And, you know, just other stuff. It's very, very simple, very easy. You want to use that. Now, when it comes to, well, Kisa, where do I start? Where do I start with my emote size? You know, should I start in this ridiculous 496 by 496? Fuck no. Never start that huge. Never. You are a fool if you start that huge, unless you're making an emote, and unless you're making like this high quality piece of merch, just like an amazing piece of merch, and like you want to turn it into an emote too. Never start that large. What I recommend that you start in is 280 by 280 and 300 DPI. It's super simple. Now what it is 10 times the size of the smallest emote, which I believe makes it good for like the ratio and scaling. It just it works well. And I'm gonna bring up actually one of my emotes that is in that format. So this one is done 10 times the size. All right, so this is pretty good, right? You know, this looks fine. This looks fine. You know, you can clearly see it. Obviously, it leaves enough to where you can put a lot of details into it. So why I don't recommend making your emote size any bigger than this size, 280 by 280, because any bigger than this is just a waste of your time and can actually make your job a lot harder. So if you're working in like a larger canvas, you're gonna want to put more detail into it, right? More detail into it, you know? You're going to go like, oh, well, this is 100% right now. Say this was 100%. Okay, let's just say that this was 100%. Well, I see all this stuff here. Oh, I should add a little bit more detail here. I should clean up this tiny little line here. Oh, well, let me do this here. Let me add in a little bit more shading in this area. And then when you go to, you know, make it super duper small, then suddenly all those details, they either don't matter, or one of the worst things that I ran into on my emo journey is you've added all these details, and then when you size it down, god damn it, you can't tell what you're looking at anymore. There's so many details and so many little lines that like it just mushes all together and you can't tell what's going. It's so muddy. Yeah, it's so muddy. And so to save yourself that pain of spending 5 hours on an emote that you can't even use because it looks so bad, just start in a smaller canvas. Some people start in the smallest Twitch size, 112 by 112, but personally, I think that's too small to be able to accomplish what you want to be able to accomplish, because you can still see those small details if you start in 280 by 280. You're not going to see everything, but as long as you're strategic about it, and that's what matters. But yeah, so now that you know what size your canvas should be in for emotes, again, I recommend 280 by 280 with 300 DPI. Let's talk about how you guys are going to resize them, right? You're like, how are you going to resize these? Because I need these to all be in the appropriate sizes. Because if you upload 280 by 280, Twitch is going to say, what are you doing? I need 112 by 112, 56 by 56, and 28 by 28. Well, don't worry. There's easy ways that you guys can do this. So, and personally, in my program, there's an easy way you can do it, and I'll explain how you guys can kind of do this in other programs as well. So in my program, you just go over to edit, you just do change image resolution, and it's going to pop up a little box, and it's going to give you the width, the height, and the scale. All you want to do is just change that number, and the width is automatically going to change the height because it is a square, so it's going to be equal. I can change it to 112. Bam, there you go. And we'll talk a little bit more about scaling and drawing things and making sure that they look good later, by the way. How you do it in other programs. For example, if you do it in Metabang, which is a free one, Metabang, all you got to do is go into edit, image size, same thing. Opens up a little box and it tells you what you want to do. And since it's a square, I believe it automatically changes the other one, but if not, just do 112 by 112, 56 by 56, and you'll just save them after everyone. In Photoshop, you can go to File, Export, and Export As. Procreate, I actually have something to talk about with Procreate. And actually, what's great about Photoshop, guys, and I want to show you this because I was talking with my friend Spectissa about this, which I thought was amazing. There's this really cool thing that the Photoshop has. Look at this. So you can fucking look. You can make 3 different sizes. You can make 3 different sizes in Photoshop. If you have Photoshop, you don't have to like go and like save everyone individually, because that's what you have to do. You have to do 112 by 112, and then you save, and then you undo the thing, and then you put it in 56 by 56. But this one in Photoshop is just like, yo, you want to do all 3? You want to do all 3 at the same time? I got you. So that's really cool. It's really, really, really cool. And the quality also looks great. The quality looks great. I've tested all of these to make sure that that doesn't ruin the quality or anything like that. And thus why I want to talk about programs that I don't suggest. So like, if you use GIMP or Procreate to draw your emotes, I highly recommend that you don't export them when you resize them. I gave it my own shot in GIMP. GIMP destroys the quality. When you take an emote, like say like this one or this one, and they bring it down into the smallest size, it blurs the lines. You can't define them anymore. Like I even have a comparison here. I think I still have my comparison open. So let's look at this emote. Let's look at this emote from my friend Kairi-chan, okay? Really cute, all right? Now let's look at what it looks like when we resize it in both Clip Studio Paint and in Metabang, all right? You know, we can see that plenty well. I know it's a little bit hard because you guys here. I'm gonna zoom in just because, so this is basically, okay. But then when we bring it into GIMP, like you guys can see this, right? Look at this. Look at this. Look at the one on the right. What happened? It looks so bad. And so like the same kind of thing happens in Procreate as well. Procreate also turns it into like this like pixely mess, and it looks terrible. It loses so much of the emote. It's so blurry. There's no definition. It takes away all these hard outlines, and it looks really bad. Don't do it. Don't use Procreate to resize your images, and do not use GIMP to resize your images. Use Metabang, use Photoshop, or use Clip Studio Paint. What's most important, guys, when you finish your email, okay? So let's go ahead and let's do an example, okay? So here's my emote, 280 by 280, okay? It's ready to do its thing, all right? But you know what? Let's give a better example, actually. So when you start with a drawing, generally you're gonna start with a bunch of layers, right? Here you go, let's open this one. If you look off to the right-hand side, these are all my layers, okay? So we got a bunch of layers. We have some add, we have some multiply. All right, so here's the thing, guys. It's really important that when you're done with an emote, and make sure you have that transparent background, go ahead and export it. You're gonna wanna export it as a PNG, and and then once you export it as a PNG, that's when you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna open it up. That is when you're gonna go ahead and start resizing it to, your 112 by 112, 56 by 56, and so on. And why it's important to do this and not on the actual file with all the layers is because when you have certain layer properties and effects on your original project file, when you go ahead and you resize your email with all those effects still on, it can end up compressing your image or changing it in a really weird way. So just export your file, basically save your file to PNG in the biggest size that you have, preferably 280 by 280. And then that's when you'll go ahead and make it smaller. So that way you're not taking away the quality, basically. So we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on now and talk about some habits that you guys should make when working on emotes, like for your channel or for even other people. So it's important to make sure their emotes are fully visible in the 28 by 28 size, right? Because that's how Twitch is going to see them. So like, for example, we've shown you this one and what it looks like when it's smaller. Like we can resize it, like say, for example, right now, 28 by 28. Now, even when it's all zoomed in, you guys can see what this is, right? It's clearly, she has something over her. And like she's all cozy, right? We get the feeling of coziness from that. That means that how she made this emote was perfect, all right? It was exactly what it needed to be. So let's take this and let's bring this down to 28 by 28 too. All right, we can clearly see that she's holding some glow and stuff. We're gonna assume that's some glow sticks, right? It looks like glow sticks, That's what's the most important part about emotes. I'm gonna show you some other emotes that I think do this job really well as well. So we have emotes from Kelly. I fucking love Kelly. Kelly has some of the best emotes on Twitch, in my opinion. Like when we bring this down 20 by 28, it looks just as fucking good. It looks just as fucking good as it did in 112. We can clearly see what's happening. It's very, very, very obvious. Same thing with like Yamachika. Yamachika is a great emo artist. Like, check this out. This is cute little head pat one, 20 by 28. It looks pretty much the exact same. Like, look at that. You can clearly see it's a hand doing a head pat. So the way that these emotes were made were just mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful, beautiful work. They clearly know what they're doing. They have a lot of practice. And I will be completely honest with you guys too. If you guys haven't been making emotes for very long, say you started like a month or two ago, you've only made 6 emotes, you may not get the same result because they just have more practice. Now you must be like wondering like, Kiesel, like, well, how do they do it? They just must be magic, right? And that's not necessarily true. They just have, first off, a lot of experience, and second off, have made good resizing habits. Now I'm gonna tell you guys what that means. And I'm gonna show you some examples, okay? So when you're sketching your emote, guys, I always recommend that you put like colors under it, and then before you even finish your sketch, basically before you've like done any like fancy things to it or anything like that, what you need to do is you need to make sure that that sketch, you can tell what the heck is going on when it's in its smallest size. It doesn't matter what it looks like in 112 and 56 by 56, because those are gonna look great. Those are gonna look amazing if it looks good in 28 by 28. I'm gonna show you an example of some emotes that I did for Lucius. So here you go. Let's go ahead and let's pop into these emotes that I did for Lucius a month ago. So we have this cute little one here, okay? Real cute, right? We have a bunch of different emotes. But I also have my sketches. So let's go ahead and let's bring out my sketches. So we're just gonna make all this stuff disappear, okay? So let's bring out the sketch, all right? So here we go. We have the sketch here, all right? So what I did and multiple times while working on this emote is I would go, okay, well, I've completed this sketch. Now I need to make sure that people can tell what the heck's going on in 28 by 28. So I take the image resolution, bring that down to 28 by 28. And there you go. You can clearly see she's got a hand up. She waving, and she's smiling. She's having a good time. She's having one heck of a good time. That's awesome. All right. But say we had the trouble of the hand not standing out. It looked like the hand became one with the face, and we're like, well, shit, we got to fix this. And there's certain ways that you can do that. And one of the ways being, and I'm going to go into detail about this a little bit later too. One of the things that you guys can do is thicken up the lines. So as you can see, like on the finish emote. So as you guys can see here, this is a vastly different color right here from right here. So as a result, it makes it stand out. You know, we thought about putting down like that white border, but what we ended up doing is it didn't give us the look that we needed. Sometimes it does, but other times it doesn't. Instead, changing up the line colors can really make all the difference. So we changed up the line color, made sure that these lines were real thick around here. You know, we wanted to make sure that this line was way thicker than like this line back here or this line right here, because we didn't want those to interfere, because line thickness has a lot to do with like making a good emote. And again, I will talk about that later. But same thing. So let's give you another example. Okay, so let's go on and let's pop on over to this emote. Same thing, sketch here. So we can see the sketch. While I was working on it, I want to make sure that, you know, it looks good. So when I'm done with the sketch, and I always recommend, guys, that you add color to your sketches when you're working on emotes. Because say, for example, let's go down to 28 by 28, okay? Let's remove this, okay? It's a little bit harder to tell what's going on, right? It's a little bit harder, but when we add in color, it makes all the difference. So if you do your sketches for your emotes with color, that'll help you make those decisions. So for example, let's go ahead and let's do that. You know, same thing with like this, you know, like we can kind of tell that there's a heart there, but now we can definitely tell there's a heart there, you know, pop over here. Same thing, you know, without the lines, you can, maybe that's a hand. I think that's a hand. I think she's waving, you know, but the color goes, wah, there you go. Now you can see stuff, you know? But anyway, that's why it's really, really, really important. Make a habit of it, guys. Make a habit of it. Do it in your sketch, do it with your line art and with your sample colors again. And then do it with when you're finished with your emote. If you guys want to make emotes for other streamers, I will also say one of the things you guys got to make sure that you do, please, for the love of God, remember to do this. Never, ever send an emote, never, ever send a finished emote unless you do the 28 by 28 test. So say, for example, let's just go into here. You know, say for whatever reason, when I just thought, okay, this looks great. This looks awesome. I'm going to send it to my client in all the sizes, but I'm not going to check and make sure that it looks good. If you don't do that and you send it to the client and they can't tell what it looks like in 28 by 28 because you didn't do a good job at, you know, checking that at the last minute, then you're gonna have a really upset client. You're gonna have a really disappointed client. And we don't want that, right? We never want that. We always want people to feel good about the work that they receive. So always do the 28 by 28 test. Another thing I wanted to mention that's a really good resource, guys, a really good resource. Here you go. I'm gonna show you this. I'm gonna show you this, guys. So this website's really cool, guys. Check it out. So what it does, we're gonna bring this over. What it does is you can test out your emotes. We can test up your emotes. But say, for example, you're just like, all right, guys, I want to make sure that my emotes look good. I want to make sure that my emotes look good. All right. So after you've tested out in 28 and 28, but you're still not sure, you're like, I don't know, maybe it doesn't look that good in you know, in the small size. You can literally just open up your emote. I suggest uploading it in the smallest size. So let's just choose, yeah, let's do where small, open. There you go. That's what it's going to look like in Twitch. Now you know. Now you know. That looks great, right? Looks awesome. I don't know. Let me try another one, you know? All right, let's pop in another one. Let's do Kisakanam small. Hey, look at that. It looks great. this is where you guys can do that. You can test out all your emotes here and see exactly what they look like in chat. It's really, really handy. So let's talk about light mode versus dark mode. So making sure your guys' emotes stand out in both light mode and dark mode is super duper important, guys. Super duper important. Say, for example, you have a character wearing like a dark cloak and you can't see his face. So like the inside of his hood is completely black, you know? And you put that onto Twitch's dark mode, it is going to blend in with the rest of the background. And those who use dark mode are not going to be able to see it. It's just going to be completely useless to them, which means that there are some people who just won't use your emotes at all. And there's some people who will go, what the heck is that emote? You know, or won't even see it, you know? I made an emote, it was like a year or two ago. Let me show you an example of ones that don't work well. So we have this one right here. So let's do this one. All right, what the fuck is this? You can't even tell what's going on here in dark mode, right? In light mode, sure. But in dark mode, you can't see a goddamn thing. Terrible, right? That's terrible. That looks horrible. Okay? But when you add in a border, aha! Suddenly, we can make it out. So that's an example of like, of using light mode and dark mode and an emote not working. Use that website so that way you guys can test it. But I'm gonna tell you the easiest and simplest way to make an emote that focuses on darker colors stand out on Twitch. It's so freaking easy. Add a goddamn white border around the emote. Add a white border around the emote. It is the simplest way to do it. It is the easiest way to do it. And it's the most efficient way of doing it. It's literally so easy. Add a white border. But the only thing that I do have to make sure is like, don't make the white border too thin or too thick. There's a happy medium and you just got to play with it to figure out what works best for that emote in particular. And make sure that it's like the same exact line. So there's an easy way to do this in Clip Studio Paint, and I want to show you that real quick. Not that this emote needs it, but let's pretend it does. There's a really easy way that you can do this. You can go over here into layer properties, effect, border effect. And then you can change how big the border is. The only downside to this is sometimes if you have some like stray pixels hanging out, it'll do this. And so you might have to go in and clean those up a little bit. That's the only downside to using this. There's another way you can do it though. There's another way, or if you don't want to use the border effect, what you can do is you can right click and create a selection based off of this emote itself. And then you can click this right here and it's expand selected area. You can expand it by either 1 or 2 pixels. Make a layer underneath it and I don't know, choose white and then fill that selected area. So there you go. Now it's made a border. Those are 2 easy ways that you can make a border using the exact same shape that you had before in Clip Studio Paint. You can do pretty much the same thing in Photoshop and whatnot. Unfortunately, I do not own Photoshop, so I cannot show you how to do that, but it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. The same thing could be said about light mode as well, guys. So say, for example, you want to make an emote, but like, if the borders don't stand out, it's not going to create as much of an impact. And I want to show you what I mean by this. I want to show you what I mean by emotes that have a border. And that help them stand out. Pretty much, in my opinion, all good emote artists know about just like how efficient borders are. So see, look at this. So let's take a look at Yamachika's emote here, okay? Look at this thick ass border here, okay? That is perfect because when you put it against like a light background and we go ahead and we make this smaller, that 28 by 28, bam, it stands out. You know exactly what you're looking at. You can see that there's a hand going down and everything like that. You don't make all the lines black because then they're going to blend together, but making that outward line darker than the rest of what's going on really makes it stand out. I'll show you another emote so that I'm not just using this as an example. Kelly has been the master of this. Look at this. Kelly knows what she's doing. Kelly's been doing this for years. Kelly is a great emote artist and knows exactly how to accomplish this. Same thing with ABBA. So ABBA, look at this. This thick border here, thick border, same thing. It stands out. It makes it stand out. It is really, really, really important that you guys incorporate this around the edges of all your emotes. It's something that I didn't used to do, that I've started doing for the past like year and a half, and it really, really makes a difference. So as you can see, this is a really thin line here, but out here it's a much darker and thicker line. You know, it just helps it stand out. It helps it stand out. Keeping a diverse line thickness is pretty important in the art world. If you look at pretty much any piece of artwork, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see that not all the lines are the exact same. Some of them are thinner, some of them are darker. You know, it really just depends. It really helps things stand out. And there's great examples of this. Say for example, so right here, these lines are really thin. These are really thin. But around the face here, they're like a little bit thicker, because that's a little bit more important, right? So like using thicker lines in certain areas make different parts of the image really pop. It just really makes it pop. In terms of standing out on a light background, using that darker color and that thicker line really makes it stand out, you know? And nearly all of my favorite Twitch emotes have that thicker, darker border because they know that it works and they know that it makes it really look good. Another way line thickness really helps emotes is when a particular thing needs to stand out. So say for example, you have an emote where the character is pointing at the camera. Thickening up the line around the hand itself can help it stand out and make the viewer pay more attention to like what that is. You know, it helps them go, oh, that's a hand. Oh, that hand's pointing at me. You know, it makes them think about that immediately instead of going, what am I looking at? I'm not really sure. Instead, they focus on the hand because it has that thicker line and it stands out more, instead of like blending into the face, right? I have an example of that in kind of use. So another thing, I kind of talked to you guys about using a white border on dark mode. Well, another thing that's good too is a white border around certain items can also make it stand out. I'm gonna warn you, is there gonna be a gun on the screen? This is an emote that's on Uberhaxer Nova's channel. And I'm gonna delve into telling you guys why I think this is a really good emote. So obviously we see that it's a gun, but look at this. What is this? We got some white border around here. Do you want to know why there's a white border around here, guys? It's because this fire color here, it's in like the same family as the skin color here. So without the white border, it would blend into the skin here, and you'd have a hard time making clear of like what was going on. Is like the fire coming from the hand? You know, is the fire just effect? We don't know. But the border helps us define our eyes as a small emote, define that it's a person holding a gun, and then they added in this fire in the background to make it stand out and go like, whoa, you know, give it some extra oomph, right? So those sort of things are really, really, really important in emotes too, using that white border. Thus, when I was working on those emotes for Lucius, when I showed you guys those ones there, on those emotes there, I needed that hand to stand out. So the first thing that I tried in the sketch, and also when I was working on it, was I tried this white border. I put this white border because I really wanted this to stand out. It turned out, in the end, I didn't need a white border. I just needed to change up the color and make sure that those lines were thick. In some cases, you need both. Sometimes you need a thick lines and you need a border. In some cases, you only need the border. You only need the, you know, the thickness. It's up to you to test out all those different things and figure out what works best with that specific emote, because all emotes are different, and so they have different things going on. You know, and what I want to also point out is there's a lot of details in this. There's a lot of details, but with how it was drawn, with the colors and everything like that standing out, and the lines, how they did like this thick line for the fire, so that way they're not looking at the fire the same way we're looking at the gun. It really helps diversify it and helps you have a different look at it. If you are still having trouble with an item in your emote blending in with other colors in the drawing, you know, just use that white border and try it out. Like I said, I always recommend trying it out in the sketch, because that way you know what works better when you get to it. Alrighty guys, so the next thing I want to talk about is colors. So now that we mentioned using colors in our emotes, we were literally just talking about it, which is, you know, good segue. I wanted to talk a little bit about how the color palette may be helping or hurting the emotes that you guys are making. So firstly, attention is brought to brighter, more saturated colors, especially colors like red. I will go ahead and admit, guys, I am not a color theory expert. So I can only recommend you guys doing your own research on color theory and understanding it better. There's this video right here I highly recommend you guys watch. It taught me a lot about color theory and really helped me, really helped put into my brain how color theory works. So I recommend checking that out if you guys are an artist, you want to learn more about it. Regardless though, if your emotes consist of colors that are all extremely similar, it's going to be really hard to distinguish the different parts of your emotes, and it's going to all mesh together one big color blur. You remember how I was talking about in UberHacks or Nova's emotes about how this color here is on the same level as this color? So what we're gonna do basically, going to do is I'm gonna show you. So right here, so this is this color, okay? I'm just gonna throw this here, okay? That's the base color for that, okay? And then we have orange here, okay? Let's do that. All right, so if we take away the emote, you can go like, oh, but Kisa, these are very different colors. You think that, but if we look at our color wheel down here in the bottom left corner, let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger here. So I'm gonna show you guys here. There we go, perfect. Now I can show you guys really efficiently. So this and this, they are not far. Like they look, it just teeters between those things. That means that they're very similar and they're going to end up blending together. However, with the way color theory works, funny enough, is if you use the opposite side of the spectrum, generally they work really well together. See how nice that blue looks with that color? See how nice that blue looks with that color? It looks really nice, actually. Like, it looks really complementary. I mean, not, you know, maybe don't, you know, choose one or the other, you know, maybe not choose both of those, but like, you know, you see how nice it looks? And so that's kind of one of the things about color theory that you learn, is that you have to use a variety of colors, otherwise things blend in. Thus, again, why they chose that white border. But one of the things is too, is if your character or object that you're drawing is designed, so say for example, you're like, but Kisa, I have this character, and let's just use this as an example, okay? So like, but Kisa, I have this character, and all their colors are, you know, all of their colors are really similar. Like, you know, all their colors are super similar, Kisa, you know, I can't help it. That's just their what they look like, right? So let's just say that's the case, okay? There's still some saving grace for you. I still have something that can help make your character not blend all into one. I can still do that. Change your goddamn line colors, and I'm gonna show you what I mean, okay? So this is our line color, but if we take away all of the line color that we have, then it's just black, right? It just kind of looks flat, right? And if we make it in that 28 by 28, granted this isn't gonna look the same way because it has all the layers and stuff like that. Like you see how it kind of blends in more? The hand kind of blends in with the face. You can kind of tell it's, you know, that, but it just nothing pops, right? Everything kind of looks like it's on the same plane. And that's, you know, it can be fine, but it really makes a difference when you take that extra time. Let me show you a comparison of an emote that I did like 3 years ago and an emote that I've done recently. Check this out, guys, check this out. So here you can see I made an emote that had like all the line art here. So it's a bit thick, and it's all the same. All of it's the exact same, okay? All of it's the exact same. Nothing, there's no changing of the line thickness. All of it's just using the color black. And then we have this where there's a bunch going on. It really, like what do you want to look at more? This one or this one? Obviously, when I want to look to the one on the right, sure, the bright colors of the left stand out, but they're almost too saturated. They're kind of too saturated, right? You know, if we lowered the saturation, probably be like a little bit better. But the one on the right goes, ooh, what's this? You know? Ooh. it definitely looks a lot more interesting, and it's easier to like look at, which is great because we want people to look at our emotes and go, ooh, this looks cool. Not, ooh, that's a bright color. You know what I mean? You'd think that the brighter the colors, the more saturated the colors, the better. And that's not true. And I'm actually going to bring up the wheel again, because when you're working with colors, I'm gonna go ahead and open up a new canvas real quick. Boop, boop. If we're working with this, if we work with like this fucking color, god damn it. So this color, let me move you over here. This color is so freaking bright. It's so freaking bright. But like, then we have like, say for example, we mess around. Let's go like here. All right. That color looks so much nicer. It's not as bright. But if we want to have that sort of look, we can like mess around, you know, maybe even do that. That's a lot easier to look at than this bright ass fucking color. You know what I mean? like don't make all of your drawings like all the way in the top right corner of everything. Don't make it all the way the most saturated, the most full of color, no, mess with it a little bit. Maybe go brighter, or maybe go lighter, maybe lose some saturation, maybe make it a little bit darker. Play with all these different things, because look at this huge color palette we have, guys. We have this huge color palette, and if you guys are only sticking in the top left right corner, you're missing out on opportunities to get familiar with other colors and learn more about color theory, and also make more diverse and more fun color palettes. So like, just really go outside of your comfort zone and use a different color than you normally would, because who knows, you might fall in love with that. All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about text and emotes, guys. Let's talk about text and emotes. I'm really excited to talk about this, actually, and I have some cool examples I'd love to show you. So using text as an emote in itself, or as an extra feature as an emote, is great, guys. It's freaking great. It can be really helpful for determining what the emote is about. Like I told you before, kind of like helping define that such and such is hype. Like for example, we had, where is it? Oh, this one, the Moe Shops emote that Yamachika made. This one, helps determine that this is hype. This is hype, in case you're like not sure. And it can also help like things be funny, and sometimes just having text is good too, right? It can be anything you want. It's the same thing. But like with everything when it comes to emotes, guys, it has to be done just right. Unless you plan to spend like 2 or 3 emote slots on just some text, which is not worth it, unless you're using like Frank Your Face or something like that, or you have nowhere else to use it, You have to make sure that your font, or if you use handwriting, generally I always handwrite out my emotes. I prefer to. I have more control over it. You have to make sure that your handwriting or the font that you choose is clear, legible, appropriately sized, and using a bold color, and usually contains a border of some kind. For example, with this emote here, it's using a very bold color. So we're using this yellow. Okay, this yellow is not used in anything else in this drawing. This yellow is not used in anything else. And then it has this fade to red, which is really cool. And that's also a very, very, very bold color choice. And then it has this border. So it stands out. You can clearly see this one is in its smallest size. So if we make this its smallest size at 28 by 28, again, I'm going to make it larger than 100% because I'm on a tablet and you guys are seeing it differently. You guys can still see this as hype, right? It's perfect. You guys can see it perfectly. However, if it was to not have that border, the yellow is automatically going to blend into the white background space here, which might make it harder to see if you guys are using light mode on Twitch. It'd be easy for the people who are using dark mode, but like not everyone's using dark mode, If you guys use a complicated font, when you resize it to 28 by 28, no one's going to be able to read it. No one's going to be able to read it because it's this weird font, like, Curls MT, you know what I mean? Like, no one's going to be able to read it because you're taking this complicated text font and you're putting it into a very, very tiny box, 28 by 28, mind you, very, very tiny pixels. There's not a lot you can do there. And you just don't do it. Don't do it, basically what I'm saying. Like I said, another way to help legibility is to add a border. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some different emotes I've done, and also some emotes that do text really well. So I'm going to show you these two here. So this emote here is an emote that was done by Mira Scarlet, and it's a 10 out of 10. And you can see, very, very bold choice. We have this. So we have just the black and the white. Now they kept this separate from all the other aspects of the emote, which really helps it stand out, and uses really large font. So that way it stands out. You can tell what it is from far away. So that's really good. We have another example here. We have Devicat. So Devicat doesn't rely on like super saturated colors, and instead relies on her ability and understanding of graphic design. And so she knows that these colors are going to look good in 28 by 28 because the text is big enough, there's enough color, and there's even some variation. And so all of these things really come together. As you can see, like the border around it, it's this bright color, it even has some uses of white in there. Like it's a beautiful emote. And then if I bring up some emotes that I've done in the past, these are from oldest to newest, so you guys can kind of see my how I've increased in my emote production. But all of these are a hype emote, you know, and they all have text in them. Now, one of the things that you're sacrificing with hype or any sort of emote that you want text in, but also a character in, is, as you can see, it takes up a third of the goddamn emote. Look at that. It takes up so much space, and you have to be willing to sacrifice that. Because if you want it to be legible, it has to be large. It has to have usually some kind of border, or it has to have a very vibrant color. So as you can see, all of these have at least one of those elements, you know, and sometimes it sucks. Sometimes, you know, like the hype here, what makes me sad about this one is it kind of covered up his mouth. I wish it didn't, but it was either that or I moved the emote further up and we have less of his hat, and his hat is important. Can't tell who he is without his hat. You know, the hype here was luckily, this one was able to be put in a perfect position. Look at that. Look at that. That's basically it when it comes to text. Just keep in mind, if you want text in it, you are going to be sacrificing a large portion of your emote. All right, so I'm going to move on to the commission section. So if you guys are an emote artist currently, or you guys want to be an emote artist in the future, and you really want to, like, you know, you want to earn some revenue, then this section is for you. One of the things I want to talk about first and foremost, because this is really, really important to me as an artist, not just an emote artist, an artist in general, guys, is unless you guys are donating your time to a nonprofit organization or making something for your best friend, guys, charge appropriately for your emotes. I pray to the heavens, please charge appropriately for your emotes. When it comes down to it, guys, emotes are a branding tool. They are used to earn revenue on the platform, on Twitch. Some people don't watch your content. They just want your emotes. And so you are directly getting paid for the work that someone else has made for you. You know what I mean? So, like, you should always charge an amount that covers your time and your skill, and the fact that the receiver will be earning money, recognition, and possibly success from your work. I feel like this doesn't have to be said, but like under no circumstances are you as the artist are allowed to approach a streamer later and say, hey, I need more money from you because now you're successful. You're successful now and you're making lots of money and you're still using my emotes. I need more money. Under no circumstances can you do that. So charge appropriately for your emotes now, because if someone blows up later and ends up needing more emotes from you or whatever, which first off is exposure for you, you can't just suddenly say like, hey, I need more money. So charge appropriately from the start so that you never have to feel like you were taken advantage of, because you're not being taken advantage of unless you allow yourself to be taken advantage of. So charge appropriately from the start so that way you are covered for your time, your work, and your experience. Personally, I recommend charging at least $35 per emote and consider offering a bundle discount if they order more emotes. So say like they want like 3 emotes, 7 emotes or whatever, you know, like offer like a bundle discount. Like, oh, you save $15, you save $30, whatever. You know, you get, you know, buy 5 emotes, get 1 free. Do that. That'll incentivize to people to buy more from you without you feeling like you're being taken advantage of and without you charging like super duper less. To put it into perspective, guys, if an emote only takes an hour or two to make an emote, that means that you're only charging $17 an hour for a custom branding tool that can be used to make money for an infinite amount of time on Twitch. Like if they started streaming like 5 years ago and they're still using it 10 years from now, and that people are subbing to them and using their emotes constantly, then they only paid like $35 to earn money for 15 years. Like that's amazing. That's amazing, actually, right? Because you guys will go get like a professional done logo, and you're spending $100 to $300 to even $500 for a logo, but that's representing your company for the next who knows how many years, and so that's a really, really, really good price, honestly. Like for what emotes accomplish, 35 is a steal, in my opinion. Another thing that you guys have to consider as well is you're to get clients where you guys are going to be talking back and forth a lot. You may be talking back and forth for hours, be like, okay, well, can we change this one part? Sure. Okay, but maybe we could do this, blah, 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 blah. You guys have to put that into consideration when you're doing your emotes. So sometimes you're going to have some you're gonna have some problem clients, right? You're gonna have some problem clients where they're gonna be really picky and they're gonna take up a lot of time, you know, and maybe the way you did the emote sketch wasn't what they envisioned, and so they want you to start over, you know? You have to consider this when putting into your emote thing. So if you're only charging $10 for an emote, then like, and you spend 3-4 hours like going back and forth with one client, well, you've made less than minimum wage. You know, you've made less than minimum wage and you've taken away time from other clients who would have respected your time more because of the amount of money that they were investing in you. You know what I mean? So like, one thing that I think is important to keep in mind, one thing that's really, really, really important to keep in mind is charge what you're worth, not what you think people are willing to pay. Like, if you're just like, well, I think people are like $10, because there is always going to be somebody, always going to be somebody who will charge less than you. Always. Anywhere you go. Fast food place, you know, an artist, anywhere. There's always going to be someone who is going to charge less than that business. But there isn't always someone who can offer your specific art style and your personality. So think of it that way. You know, they're not just paying to get a random emote. They're paying to get an emote from you. If they just want a random emote, they can go on Fiverr and get a stolen one for $5. You know what I mean? Like, but when someone commissions you, they should want to commission you, because that's what you're offering. You're offering your art style and your work. And if they're not there to do that, they're saying, hey, I want you to copy Kelly's style. You know, and say like, well, listen, I can draw in my style, but I can't do Kelly. You should probably commission Kelly. You know what I mean? Here's a really important part too, guys. And I could go on all day about how artists do need to charge more, but that we could talk about that separate as well. Like any skill, guys, practice. Do not, in my opinion, I think it is a bad idea. Do not put up emote commissions as a quick way to make a buck if you aren't making emotes for yourself and other people to help increase your skill. Like, you should be working on emotes consistently. Like, if you've only drawn like 5 emotes and you're offering emote commissions and you have for the past 2 years, and you haven't drawn any emote commissions, or you haven't drawn any emotes in the past 2 years, and you only have that 5 that you started out with, that's not gonna be good. It's not gonna be good for you. And it's not going to be good for any of your clients, because you're not practicing that skill. You're not working on that. You're not trying to make it better. You have to consistently work at it. If you go and you go ice skating and you don't ice skate for 2 years, you're going to forget a few things by the time you ice skate again. With every skill, you have to practice. Even if it's just a few emotes here, just a few emotes there, make a few frank your face emotes for you, make a few frank your face emotes for your friends. You know what I mean? Keep it up and practice. So that way you're offering the best of your abilities, and you're also staying informed and educated. And also you just get like better at it. You just get better at it. Like, who doesn't want to be good at something they're doing, right? So like, I think that it's really, really, really important that you don't remain stagnant as an emote artist. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. Even if it's just for fun. Make emotes for your Discord server, whatever. Just keep it up. Just keep it up. But in closing, guys, emotes are meant to be fun and tell a story in a very, very, very small canvas, okay? In a 28 by 28 canvas, these like little things are meant to tell an entire story. You know, learning to make a good emote has a learning curve, guys. It has a learning curve, and it isn't like your typical drawings. It's going to be different. It's going to be more challenging in some ways, and it might be easier in some ways. And there's a lot of things that you got to keep in mind, but with enough practice and by studying and following the tips I provided with you guys today and the resources that I gave you guys are going to be making some of the best emotes on the platform. Like, legit, you guys are. I am going to show you guys some of my favorite emotes, and I'm going to tell you why I think that they're so good, to kind of give you guys more stuff to think on. But I'm gonna show you guys some of the best emotes on Twitch, in my opinion. So like I said, I fucking love Kelly. I love Kelly so much. She's here on Twitch. She's a streamer. So the thing that makes this a really good emote is the borders and the fact that she has so much in this emote, but it is also appropriately spaced out. So as you can see, the only dark colors that she has is around the border of the actual emote itself and the body. So that way you pay attention to it, because if they didn't have this border, you probably wouldn't be able to tell. Like, you wouldn't be able to really pay attention to the body. But if we put it in its smallest size, that 28 by 28, you can see that there's a body. You can see that there's a body. It has this derpy expression, and you can see that she's like laying down, right? You know, you can clearly see it. You can clearly see it. This one by Leaflet, I think, is really good. I don't know the artist for this one, but it's on Leaflet's channel. So this one, with these bold colors, everything really stands out in different ways. But what I really like about it is the hands. Look at how the hands and the eyebrows really pop, and it helps really bring in what's behind it, because this is a stop emote. It's like stop. So as you can see, down here is darker because that's not important. They've darkened this area here because that's not important. What is important is the expression, the eyebrows, because eyebrows do a lot for an expression in a drawing, and then the hands. So they focus on that entirely, and that's what I really like about this emote. I really like this one by Yamachica. The blush one's really cute. So again, the dark border, you have the simplistic shading. She has like some highlights and just a little bit of shading, you know, nothing too insane. And then the blush that's over the arms, over the hair. So it really brings extra attention to that. Because then when you bring it down, like I said, in that 28 by 28 size, you can still really see it super duper well. See? You can see everything that's going on. This emote that Spectissa did, I think, is really good. It went with like, so sometimes you have trouble when you're working with an emote that's like super duper dark, right? But what she did is she added this fire background, which really helps light up the entire thing. In fact, she even did like highlighting here. She did highlighting here and here and here to show that it was like bouncing off the light of the fire behind it, which is really cool. And then they have this really cool glow effect on the eyes. So that way it doesn't look plain. It doesn't look plain. It doesn't look like, you know, everything mushes together. When you make it in that smaller size, you can still see everything just as well. Just as well. Like, damn. I really like this one because the eyes, are, the eyelashes and everything are super thick, and so they stand out a lot. The eyebrows are done with a black so that you can see the expression even at 28 by 28. And then also this border here as well is really good. And then they use these bright colors so they stand out immediately. And they use that gold for the border. Really cute, right? And it looks really good. It looks really good in the 28 by 28 because of all those factors. Like, pew, like look, cute. You can tell that she's an angel. This one was done super well. You can see that there's a lot of detail in this one. There's a lot of detail in this one. And like I said, with some emotes, you can put like a shit ton of detail into it. But this one focuses on just the face. So instead of trying to fit like, you know, for example, trying to fit a character doing an action, instead it's just a facial expression. So then it's just a facial expression. You can really zoom in there and you can add a ton of detail and really have fun with it if you'd like to. And you know, you can tell how much detail is put into it even far away. But again, keep in mind, it's because it's focusing on the face. Like, there you go. How cute. How cute. So we have this one here as well. This one I think is really good. Again, we got those thick borders. We have that red on the inside there, kind of like doing that. Again, the thick border, and then the white outline I was telling you guys about. Look, that white outline, because there's pink here, and this pink is on the same plane as the red. Having that white outline really makes it pop. And so that way they can still they can still have that outline and really like stand out. These ones are really good too. I really like this one. This one has so much detail into it. It's so beautiful, the detail. This one doesn't have that thick border, but it does have that darker border. It has a red border, which is really cool. And then the usage of color really makes it stand out a lot. So we got that purple, which is freaking cool. We have this huge facial expression. Most of this emote is just focused on the face. So again, it works really well when it's focused on the face. But that way you can still see it. It's still real cute. Still real cute. But having that variation of colors really makes this one pop. I feel like this artist definitely had a lot of practice with this. And that's why they're so good. And then this one right here as well. I really like this one because again, the borders, this really vibrant, the really vibrant shades, the eyebrows, the details into it, all the different colors used on like the mouth looks really good. And I really like how that they did that. Like, look at that. Looks fucking awesome. Looks fucking awesome. Looks fucking awesome.